Greetings and welcome to Hospitality Sri Lanka series 19 Hospitality Questions on COVID-19. Today, we will be entertaining a question from a public relations manager at a chain hotel who writes to us. When our hotel opens after COVID-19, we have implemented several processes in line with the recommended best practices, such as social distancing, wearing of masks, and so forth. However, we know there will be some dissatisfied parties who will negatively comment on us on social media. How do we respond to this effectively? Over to you, Ashrak.
Social media. Now that is a very interesting question, a very valid question, and something that not just hotels but every business needs to be aware of. First, let's look at the basic of social media. Social media is something that once you put something out there, it is there for eternity. Getting it removed is very difficult. Yes, if it is something like hate speech or ethnic violence or something like that, you can get it removed. But there is a process towards proving these kind of things. They must be vetted. Simple comments that are negatively talking about a business, usually you have to consider that they will be there for eternity. So let's look at how do we respond to these things. First off, there are some complaints and dissatisfied comments you will find that will come from parties such as keyboard warriors and trolls. Keyboard warriors are people who would write the nastiest stuff when they have the protection of that computer. But you meet them in person and they would not even raise their voice or even open their mouth and voice their concern. These are people who may come to your hotel and find grievances with anything, but will not want to voice it then and there to you, or will just prefer to go and put it on social media for whatever reason. There are many reasons, including psychological reasons for that, which we will not go into. It's beyond the purview of this question. So those are keyboard warriors. Next are trolls. Trolls are people who actively seek to spread malicious disinformation or discrediting statements. Trolls can sometimes come from your own brand even, or from dissatisfied people within your brand, or from competitor brands. It is very common for competitor brands to enlist the services of social media trolls, paid even, to write negative things about competitors. So you need to evaluate that negative post before you start responding very carefully. Is it one of these parties? Of course, if your brand is strong and liked by everyone and people hold it in high regard, and you have a small percentage of people who will make these negative statements such as keyboard warriors and trolls, silence is sometimes your best option, because the rest of the satisfied community behind your brand will back you up and they will take these people down on social media. Sometimes you will see that the comments by other people are overwhelmingly in support of your brand, and your brand doesn't even need to respond either way. That is the use of silence on social media. Let the crowd deal with the ridiculous people, basically. But let's say it's not any of those. Let's say it is a valid guest complaint that the guest is putting on social media for whatever reason because he or she could not get it addressed at the hotel. Then you need to deal with it in a very structured method. First of all, you must avoid the stock response of "we have received your complaint and rest assured we will look into it very seriously." That is frankly rubbish. It tells the person, the guest, nothing. Except it tells them that you don't really care and you're not going to do anything. That is an open, empty promise. So avoid stock responses. Also avoid sarcastic or snarky comments. Now, we have heard of many brands such as, in the fast food industry, tech industry, when people make negative comments, they usually respond with a very, snarky response or a witty response kind of thing. Now, that is a double-edged sword, because unless your brand is very strong and such things are in line with your brand's values, don't go down that avenue, because it can easily backfire on you and can be interpreted by the wider world as arrogance and not caring about your customers. So avoid snarky responses and sarcastic responses. They are just not worth it. The next thing is, you should take the time to craft a proper response. Investigate the situation that the guest is talking about. For example, if a guest makes a claim that he came to the restaurant with his family but they were not allowed to sit too close together, first investigate why that was. Was it because the family did not fit into a single table and thus had to be placed into two tables, and it was not possible to physically move those tables? Or moving those tables would affect something else, like the distance between other socially distanced tables and the service element? Investigate everything. You need to become your own private eye then, because you want to get the whole picture before you respond, because clearly the guest has chosen to take his complaint to a public forum. So think about it as you are responding to a public forum. If a newspaper or a television news report published something about you, you would definitely do your investigation and get your facts right. So treat social media no different. Get your facts right. And in some cases, like for example, if a guest has put a complaint saying that he or she was not comfortable with wearing a mask while walking in the lobby but was forced to, then you can back your claim with credible facts, such as how far the droplets of COVID-19 infected breath from infected people can travel. Therefore, that is why the mask is needed. Back yourself up with credible facts. That way, it shows the wider world that you have not only done your research, but you are following accepted global norms for certain things as well. Then, if you do find that you are at fault, the biggest thing you need to do is apologize. Remember, tendering an apology if you are at fault is not a sign of brand weakness or anything negative on your part. If anything, it shows that your brand actually cares. I find that most brands are alien to the concept of apology, much like most humans. And in both cases, not apologizing is a bigger weakness than having the strength to apologize when one is wrong, be it a person or a brand. So if you are wrong, apologize and offer a remedy as well. You must offer them a remedy, and that remedy should ideally be something that will help make the situation better. Don't offer a stock, something like 10% off at our pastry shop. That is meaningless. Make sure that your response is in line with what the guests would like. If the guests have kids, for example, offer them free usage of the pool for the kids on a certain day. Think about things like that. That will make the guest actively want to come back, rather than offering an empty gesture that is just offered for the sake of offering, but a guest may never use. So you need to carefully calculate your remedy as well. And finally, whatever comments you respond to on Facebook or social media in general, your sign-off should reflect your name and your designation, and not just be a stock response like PR team XXX brand. Because putting your name there shows the person that an actual human being has looked at their complaint carefully, evaluated it, and is taking necessary action, not that is an automated computer system. So those are some things that you need to consider when responding to comments on social media, particularly in light of the COVID-19 and the aftermath, which means that with the new norms, there are bound to be complaints. Already we are reading about airlines having to deal with unruly passengers who refuse to wear masks. When those same people reach your hotel, they will have grievances. How do you address those grievances before they spread to social media is important. But when they do spread to social media, make sure that you address them in a light that shows your brand is one that truly cares.
Thank you, Ashraf. That was interesting, very interesting. If you have any questions, please email on reachus@hospitalitysrilanka.com or through our social media links. Until then, take care and have a nice day. Thank you.